All right. Hey guys.
Hi.
All right.
Hey.
So thank you, Manal, for coming. Thank you, everybody, for being here. Hi to everybody. I'm not going to be able to shout everyone's name out, but before we get this thing started, what I wanted to say was I asked Manal to come on my channel and talk about this because Manal is Muslim, is currently, celebrating Ramadan. Is that the right phrasing? Celebrating?
Yeah, sure.
And I literally know nothing about this. I am like so super uncultured when it comes to stuff like this. I come from like a tiny, tiny town where everyone was like Christian or Episcopalian, and that's the extent of my knowledge on religion. So I have many questions. I watched Amy's video about this and was left with more questions than answers. So I knew that Manal would be able to answer some of these questions. So that's why Manal is here.
Yes. And I just want to say, like, I already got a comment about, like, maybe, and I don't know, we should also be careful about spreading misinformation. I just want to say I'm not a scholar. I did not go to school for this. I just know what I know from how I grew up and from reading, like, going to Sunday school basically and stuff like that. But I'm also not an expert, but I also watched Amy's video and I was like, wait a minute.
Yeah.
What? And also a lot of what annoyed me was the comments in her video, because what she said spread even more misinformation in the comments. Like, people in the comments were saying things that were not true. And so I thought that, maybe I'll do a video, but then I think this is a better idea because then I have someone to talk to, and I miss Rose and Cher.
Yes, I miss you. And I think this will also be nice because if people have questions, they'll be able to ask them and then you can answer them. But all right. So first off, let me tell you what I think Ramadan is.
Okay.
And then you can correct whatever it is.
Okay.
So what I am thinking Ramadan is it's, like, it's kind of like what I would equate it to in my knowledge would be like Lent for Christians. That's what I'm going to go with for now.
I have no idea what that is, though.
It's where you, like, for 40 days, you give up something like.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah. I know. Yeah. Okay. I didn't know.
On Fridays, they don't eat meat. That's where I'm going with this. So Muslims fast from sunup to sundown for a month.
Yeah. Before sunup, like just before. Okay. And then till sundown. Yeah.
Okay.
And it's, but we fast, we don't, like, I know what you mean, like just not eating candy or something that you really like, but we don't eat or drink anything. There's nothing. You can't drink or eat anything, but there's a lot more to it. And there's also reasons why we do it. And there's also ways to make it easier, like eating, hydrating and filling stuff before sunrise.
Yeah.
Right? Things that don't make you feel dehydrated. And I have to say, when I was growing up, I hated that part because I didn't want to go like wake up in the morning that early and then go to school. Right. But yeah, so it's like basically a month of worship, and to, like Amy was saying, to get closer to Islam. That's not what she meant, I think. No, I know. It's to get closer to God and to like really just build your relationship with God and like read and celebrate your spirituality and your faith and stuff like that. And like also you do a lot of charity that time. Right now it's a little hard. Like usually you like go to the mosque and like feed the poor and stuff like that. Right now all the mosques are closed, obviously, but like you can still donate and stuff like that. But usually like there's a lot of community that goes into it. Mm-hmm. And yeah, so that's basically what it is. You fast and then you pray and you teach your kids about, and you read the Quran. Like a lot of Muslims try to read the entire Quran in the 30 days, which is a lot, and I've never done it. But it is really a lot, just because the Quran is not in a easy Arabic. Like it's a really hard Arabic to read and to understand. And yeah, if you have kids, you read like the prophet stories to them and stuff. So it's basically just getting closer to your religion.
Okay. So you can't drink like even water at all, like in the time that you're supposed to be fasting?
Yeah, nothing.
Okay. So then my next question is, so I remember her talking about it in a video, and I don't remember if this was years ago when I was like deep diving her channel or if this was more recently, but she talked about how if you have like medical conditions that would like be hurt by fasting, that you don't necessarily have to fast. Is that accurate?
Yeah, you don't.
Okay.
There's a lot of things that, like, that's what I like about it. It's like you don't like if there's a verse that says if it brings suffering, you don't have to do it. So old people don't have to fast. A lot of them do though. Kids don't fast. Women on their periods don't fast. Just because, you know, while you're on your period, you don't want to also like not drink or eat. And then pregnant women don't have to fast. They can, but they don't have to. What else? When you're traveling, you don't have to fast. Um, oh, and when you're sick, like you have some sort of medication that you have to take daily, you can sometimes you can figure it out with your doctor if you really want to fast. You can go and ask your doctor, like, is there like a way that I can take it before sunrise or after sunset? And if you can work that out, then that's fine. But if you can't and you have to take it like 3 times a day and it has to be midday, then you don't have to fast. There's a lot of things. Like that's why also when she said you can't take your medicine in her videos, like that's not true. You know, like people in the comments were like, what the hell is that? Like, are you going to die then? And like, no, there's this is about being spiritual and then also like focusing on your relationship with God and nothing else. And also there's another reason why Muslims fast other than God told us to. It's also to like feel what people who are not as fortunate as us to like have food all the time and have the certainty of having food and stuff like that. So when she said you can't take your medicine, it's not true.
Yeah.
You can't. You should.
Yeah. Well, and that was like my biggest fear for her. Like, I know she has diabetes, or I suspect because she takes metformin that she has diabetes. That's what I should say. So I was like terrified because I feel like that would be so dangerous to just be like, yeah, I'm not going to eat. And then like your blood sugar go all crazy.
Yeah.
But that makes sense.
Yeah. And you should always, like, my mom has diabetes too, and she just had surgery and all that kind of, like, you should always ask your doctor if you have some sort of you know, a health issue. You should always ask your doctor if it's safe for you, because if it's not, like, it's not, you can, that's the thing, it's not just about fasting, it's also about reading the Quran, reading up on like things that you want to ask about, a lot of charity. And that's the thing, if you can't fast, you can, for the 30 days you can feed like 30 people, for example, if that's what you want.
So is there like specifically like guidelines that they set up like on how you should break your fast or like what you're allowed to eat and stuff like that?
Oh yeah, I like, you mean like, yeah, I understand what you mean. Like, no, so there's something called sunnah, which, oh hey Charlie, there's something called sunnah, which means like the way that the prophet did it. But some people, like if you're on the road and you just want to break your fast and just eat anything, that's fine. But most Muslims break their fast by drinking some milk, almond milk, whatever you want, and having 3 dates, you know, little dates. That's how most people break their fast. And then a lot of people go and pray first because, you know, we pray 5 times a day. We should pray 5 times a day. And from sunrise is the first prayer, and then sunset is the second to last prayer. So that's, you usually eat, drink, and eat your date. So you break your fast, you go pray, and then you come and have whatever food. It doesn't matter. It depends on your, like, whatever you feel like, or, you know, your culture, what you prepare in your house. Okay. But that's mostly how it's done. Yeah.
Do you guys, this is a dumb question. I've already asked Manal dumb questions behind this.
No, it's fine. Like,
you guys pray 5 times daily all the time or just during Ramadan?
No, all the time.
Okay.
And also during Ramadan, there's actually one more prayer that is so like, I've done it maybe 1 year, It's so long. You usually, after you break your fast, there is the last prayer of the day, basically. But you go to the mosque, and it's like, I think it takes like an hour or something. Usually one prayer, it depends. Like sometimes it takes 5 minutes, and sometimes it takes like maybe 10, depending on how. It doesn't matter. It just sometimes it's longer. Sometimes it depends on how you want to read. Because I don't know if anyone has ever seen a Muslim pray, but it's like kind of a Muslim yoga, if you want to call it that. Like it's not just sitting there and like praying like that. It's like you go up and down and down and up, and like and receipts, like say certain prayers and stuff like that. And the last prayer is like special to Ramadan, where you like it takes so long, and it's usually at a mosque. And I literally just did it one time, like 1 year, and then I was like, you know what, I mean, it's great. Let's do this at home, not at the, because also at home you can choose. I know this makes me sound like a terrible Muslim, but at home you can choose the prayer that you want to read, and then at the mosque the person who is praying in the front chooses the prayer that they read. So they can be like an hour, 2 hours sometimes. So
Okay.
yeah.
That's
that. Also, I want to say one thing. A lot of people in Amy's, and this is the only time I will say that Amy said something right. That everyone was like making fun of her and telling her she doesn't know her own religion, and she doesn't even know how to pronounce it, because she doesn't say Islam, she says Islam. But and then people were, it's not Islam, like lamb to eat, like animal. Actually, it's Islam in Egyptian. That's how you pronounce it. And I guess because her husband is Egyptian and he taught her everything, that's why she says it like that. And she hears Islam all day, and that's how you say it. Islam is more of a like Americanized or westernized way of saying it, but it, like Arabs say Islam. Islam or Islam. Islam is very Egyptian. Just like you don't say Manal. Manal is my name, actually. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So next question that's coming to mind is about the kids fasting.
Girl, stop.
Well, so I guess my first question is going to be, is it truly like the kids making the decision that they want to fast, or is there like a certain age where they say this is when you're going to start fasting, or like how does that work?
So there are certain rules and recommendations, I want to say. So so a kid or a teenager has to fast when they hit puberty. That's when they start actually fasting like the adults, right? But they tell you to, prepare the kid for fasting when they are like 9, 10, like around that age, sometimes even 8. I remember that I started trying to fast at 8, but that's also trying to, because when you're 8, 9, 10, you understand the concept a little bit more, and what you're doing and why are you doing it. And even if the kid doesn't make it all day or until sundown, that's completely fine, and that's no problem. It's like basically just showing them like how you can do it, what foods to eat so you can feel more full and more hydrated, and just teaching them everything. And when she said at 5 years old, I was like, girl,
Yeah,
like a 5-year-old doesn't even. And I mean, she said till 12 o'clock only, but to leave your 5-year-old without water till 12, I don't think so. Like, I don't know anyone who does that. And then people in her comments were saying, well, maybe, her husband's culture. My dad is Egyptian too, and I've been to Egypt many, many times, and no one does it at 5. And also, no, I don't know a kid who goes to their parents like, I want to fast, like, especially living in America.
Yeah.
I want to fast, like, I don't know about that at 5. I know like maybe when school starts, or when they start going to Sunday school where other kids are doing it too, or you learn more about it and stuff like that. But I really don't know at 5 years old. Like, I just always have to think about like that's 2.5 years older than my toddler. That.
Well, and that was my first thought, because I don't have a kid. I don't spend a lot of time around children, but I was like, could a 5-year-old really truly make that decision for themselves? And I can tell you, like, as soon as I was done, like, I went to Catholic school, I was raised Catholic. I can tell you that as soon as I was like done and out and Lent came around, I was like, oh, it's Friday. I'm going to eat this chicken anyway. Because on Friday, we're not supposed to eat meat. But anyway. All right. What were some other questions I had? Let's see.
Wait, what do you eat on Friday? Is that when you eat fish?
Yeah, on Fridays during Lent, we're supposed to eat fish or no meat at all, you know. But yeah, I don't practice anymore because I'm a bad Catholic. But anyway, what was I gonna say? Here's a dumb question. I want to ask a hijab question because I literally know nothing. Everybody, can you do you have to buy a specific thing and be like that's made to be a hijab, or could you like get a scarf and just wrap it and be like, this is what I'm wearing today?
No, you can't. I mean, I mean, I used to be a hijabi. I didn't. I'll do a story time on that on my channel because that's okay. Anyway, so the girl who wears a hijab, by the way. Okay, so there is, just because it's annoying to some people. I used to wear scarves sometimes, just regular scarves, like the one that Pix got us, like that. But there is like specific stores that you can go to because there's like lots and lots of different styles of hijab. And then also for some head shapes, it's just uncomfortable to wear a specific hijab because it just will fall, like especially when you have like really straight and smooth hair and you wear like a chiffon. Is that how you say it?
Yeah.
Hijab that will just, fall right off. So like you can wear whatever you want if it works, because hijab literally just means covering.
Okay.
That's it. So whatever covers, like I know people who are hijabis who wear beanies, like it's just covering. So there's people who really like to wear hijabs, like different styles, and they want to make it like stylish. Like my youngest sister, she likes to do like the most, trendy stuff. So she goes to specific stores and buys like all the brands and stuff like that. But then also, for example, the hijab that Amy wears, my mom wears too. Like a lot of older women wear that just because it's easier to put on and go. It's like a 2-piece. And, so you don't you can just wear a regular scarf, whatever you have, if it covers what's supposed to cover, or you can go ahead and buy stuff that's specifically for that.
Okay. And then, so not all Muslim women necessarily wear hijabs.
I don't.
Okay, so is it like more like a stricter?
No, well, that's the thing. I know that this is very controversial to say this as a Muslim, but again, as I said, I'm more liberal. Women are supposed to wear hijabs, and men are supposed to wear modest clothes as well. So if you see a guy walking around in like super tight jeans and in a, I don't know, really tight t-shirt, and then have a girl next to him who's wearing hijab and is dressed super modestly, the guy is not doing the right. Like the guy is supposed to wear like stuff where you can't see all of his prints and stuff like that, and just dress modestly. Just like when you see, remember when you were here and Zayn was wearing this longer thing?
Yeah.
Stuff like that with pants, like also dress modestly. But women in general are supposed to wear hijabs when they hit puberty too. But then also my dad never forced us to, because he understood that we were born and raised in Germany. We didn't really have a lot of friends who wear hijabs, and it's just supposed to be modest and like have people not look at you. But the thing for me, I felt like people were looking at me because I was in Germany in a hijab, and there was not a lot of people wearing hijab in my age, especially in my school. So I then took it off. But all women are supposed to, but you can also if you're forced, then it's not right. You're supposed to do it out of love for God, or you want to. Like being forced to do it is not right.
Okay.
You're not supposed, like anything forcibly, getting married forcibly is not permitted. You can't do that. Like the marriage will be illegal in Muslim, like in the law.
Okay.
So, yeah. But a lot of people do that, right? And it's not, but a lot of people are forced to wear hijab or are forced to get married. Yeah.
And then about the like, she's made comments about her tattoos and stuff. Are you guys not supposed to have visible tattoos or any tattoos at all, or?
Yeah, no tattoos at all. We're not supposed to have tattoos at all because she's a convert,
Yeah.
it's fine. But you're not supposed to have tattoos, I think, because you can't pray. You can't pray with them, and like as a Muslim, you follow like 5 specific things that make you, that they say it's like 5 what do you want to call them, like towers that you build your Islam on, like you build your house on basically. It's like praying, going to Mecca if you can, um so what else, fasting, saying that there is only one God, and charity. So these 5 things. So and doing you can't pray when you have a tattoo on your body, basically, because you can't have anything that goes under your skin. That like on like because oh my god, okay. So when you pray, you're supposed to wash yourself. Every time you pray, you wash yourself. There's a specific way to wash yourself. So in that specific spot can't be clean because the water can't get under it, basically. You know what I mean? So that's why when you have a tattoo, you can't be clean, so your prayer is not like you didn't like your prayer doesn't count, basically.
Yeah.
But also you can pray and ask God for forgiveness if you did it.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like murdering something, you know what I mean? Like you can ask for forgiveness. Like my dad always told me, you can do these sins, but if you ask God for forgiveness with all your heart, like he will forgive you. There's like a verse in the Quran that says Ar-Rahman Ar-Rahim, which means he is the all forgiving God. So you can do it on purpose and be like, oh, he's gonna forgive me anyway. But like, like if you really are sorry that you did it, then yeah, it's fine. Saying that because I have a tattoo too. So
All right, let's see. What other kinds of questions do I have? Oh, Lord. Does anybody have questions while I'm trying to come up with ones? I mean, one of the first questions I asked Manal today, because I was like, literally, I'm an idiot and I don't know anything.
Oh, that was actually really funny. I laughed a lot.
So, because Amy kept saying in her video, like, you build your relationship with Islam or you get closer to Islam or whatever it was. And then I was like, but what does that mean? And then she was like, and then you explained it to me. And then I was like, are Islam and Muslim 2 different things? And then, oh, I'm an idiot. Yeah.
So again, for anyone who doesn't know, Islam is the religion and Muslim is the person, just like Christianity and Christian. Yep.
Yeah, that makes a lot more sense.
Yeah.
So Steph said, I feel like someone with food addiction would be more at risk of daily evening binging, especially if they are a convert and haven't been raised doing it. I mean, I think that's definitely something that is a probability.
It's even for people who have been raised with it. Like, I mean, I deal with binge eating as well. And it is still hard. And that's why there's so much to do that you can distract yourself from. That's why there's a lot of community, especially like not Amy, not her now, but like there's a lot of converts, especially right now, that it's really hard for them because a lot of converts still live with their families who are not Muslim, for example. And the only way of the only Muslim community they have is at a mosque, which is closed and no one can see each other and stuff like that. So that is really hard. But that's why you have a lot of, like, you basically have like a schedule, not a set schedule, but like you have a schedule of the things you can do, activities you're supposed to go and like give food to people who can't afford, do charity work, clean outside, that's also a charity, like do different things that even with your community. I know, again, right now not, but like go to the mosque, there's lots of things, lots of seminars and things you can do. So it's a great, like the Muslim communities. I don't know about where Amy lives, but I guess everywhere it's like that. They make sure that it's really packed because people want to know more. And there, Ramadan is also, why did I just say it? Like Ramadan is a very popular time for people who are very interested and have been reading up to come and convert in that time. So mosques make sure that there is a lot of information and a lot of stuff going on during that time.
Hannah asks, what other holidays, I can't think of the right word, sorry, do Muslims celebrate?
We celebrate Eid twice. One Eid literally just means holiday. One Eid is right after Ramadan, like the last day of Ramadan, and the next 3 days after Ramadan are Eid, where you celebrate with your family. The kids get presents and you eat lots of food because you need to make up for everything you didn't eat during Ramadan. No, I'm kidding. But yeah, so that's what you celebrate. And then there's also another Eid that is the bigger Eid, which is, I think, like about a month and a half after, which there's a specific story. I think you have it in Christian. There's a lot that is in common between all of these, like Judaism, Christianity, and Islam. There's this story about, is it Ibrahim in Islam, where he had a dream that he had to sacrifice his son and he was about to do it and stuff. So that is why we celebrate the second Eid, because, God saved his son. And I think that's it. Then there is also Muslim New Year. And some people also celebrate was it birth of the Prophet Muhammad, but not, I think that is only because there's different kinds of Muslims, just like there is different kinds of Christians, like Catholic and stuff. There's also different kinds of Muslims. And, but that's like the biggest groups of Muslims are the Sunni Muslims. And that's the only celebrations that we have, I think. Yeah, that's it.
There was another question.
I saw someone saying, sorry, Rose. I saw someone saying they thought that Muslims are a race. No, it's a religion. There's Muslims everywhere. There's white Muslims. There's black. There's a huge black Muslim community in America. Actually, the first Muslim in America was a black man. And there's Indian Muslims, Chinese Muslims. So it's just a religion, not a race or ethnicity.
Okay, could you please ask Manal to talk about Muhammad saying we should leave the table before we are full?
What? No, say it again. I'm sorry, I couldn't hear what you said.
Could you please ask Manal to talk about Muhammad saying we should leave the table before we are full?
Oh, I don't. Oh, see, I don't know. I guess because, well, I can only say what I don't know about this. The only thing is my dad always said to us that it's not about the food in Ramadan. Like, you're not supposed to eat until you drop dead, or like you're about to throw up. It's about modesty again, because it doesn't make sense to like try to feel how less privileged people are feeling, and then at the end of the day just go and do full Chantal mukbang, right? Like, you're not supposed to do that. You're just supposed to fuel your body so you can go and continue the next day. So maybe that's it, but please don't take my word for it. That's just what my dad said. So yeah, and that's the thing, like, you see Ramadan, you see a lot of Muslims have like huge tables full of food. That's culture. That's not what the religion says, probably. Yeah.
Yes. Let's see. Someone is saying you're supposed to divide your stomach in 3 parts when eating: 1 for food, 1 for water, and 1 for air.
Okay. I didn't know that. See, that's why I said, like, I'm not a scholar. I'm just telling from experience and what I've read, and That's it.
Yeah.
So,
All
and
right.
the things that I'm sure of, that's why I'm saying.
Okay, there was another
Death Note.
What?
That's awesome.
Okay.
Oh no, she Tuba has a
A
thing
Death
that's from
Note.
Death Note.
Gotcha. Oh shoot, what just happened?
Yeah.
Sorry. I don't know how to work this computer. All right, let's see. Any other things that came to your mind when you were watching the video that you were like, I wish people knew this, or something like that?
A lot, but the thing is, like, a lot of things have like backstories, and I would have to explain. Like, if I'm just taking you for example, you told me you don't know anything, like it just doesn't make sense to, like, we would be sitting here for the next 3 days. But I like one thing that was important that I want to say, and then also someone is saying, is it true you have to face a specific direction when praying? Yes, we face the direction to Mecca, because that's like where you do your pilgrimage to. That's where we face. And there was one thing. Do you know about halal meat?
No.
Okay, but have you ever heard of it?
Yeah.
Okay, so there's a girl who made, like, someone showed it to me on Twitter, and there was also a discussion about halal meat in Amy's comment section, because everyone was like, you're not even a real Muslim, you don't even eat halal meat. Okay, so this is what I know. So halal meat, there is a specific way to slaughter your animal for meat, and that is called dhabiha, which literally means slaughter. But there's an Islamic way to do it, and then there's another way of eating halal meat, which a lot of people don't know and think you just go ahead and don't eat halal meat. It's called eat. So eating from the people of the book, which means eating meat from people who slaughtered it, who are Christians or Jews, because Muslims believe in Christianity and Judaism. Like, for us, it's basically like the Quran is basically part 3 of the trilogy. You know what I mean? Like, we believe in the Bible and the Torah, but the third book is just the end of it, basically, right? So that's why we can marry Christians and Jews. We can eat from Christians and Jews. But then there are some people who are more strict, who say, no, I will only strictly eat the biha, that is the Muslim way of slaughtering it. And then other people, mostly people who say the dhabiha thing, are people from India, Pakistan, Bangladesh, that area. And then a lot of Arab Americans or Arab Europeans eat the other halal that is from the people of the book. So I just want to say that she's not. Sometimes you live in the middle of nowhere and there's not another Muslim in sight, and it's fine. You can eat from Christians and Jews as well, because we all used to be, family. But yes.
Let's see. Here's another one from Green Gypsy Bird. Oh, is it true women who wear hijabs have to put them on in private because only your family can see your hair?
Who wear hijabs have to put them on in private? Yeah. Yes. What? Like, in private with your family? What do you mean? Say it again.
Well, that's what the was saying.
I can generally answer it that if you have someone that you could possibly marry, then you can't take it off in front of him. Like, for example, your dad's friend. You are not going to marry him, but you could possibly, you know what I mean? But your dad, you're not going to marry, so no. Your brother, you're not going to marry, so no. Yeah, like that. And
so basically, like, only in front of your family can you not have it on.
Yeah, basically.
Okay.
Not marry.
Yeah. Okay. I am just curious. how another Muslim feels about the image of a Muslim family that she is putting on YouTube.
What made me really angry was the way, because the thing is, right, is I'm not going to throw anyone else under the bus because I don't want to, but there's other cultures where a lot of things that happen in Islam are like the not great things that I don't agree with happen there too, right? A lot of stuff that is not allowed in Islam is not allowed in Christianity too, if you look it up, right? So just what she did with hitting her children on the internet, and it's just, other than the part, like, I'm obviously very upset about that. I made a whole video. I'm a abuse survivor as well, but it just made it seem like people in Islam are fine with hitting their you know what I mean? Like, or
Yeah.
in a Arab mixed household, like you just hit your kids because that's how you raise them. Like, that made me really upset. And just in general, again, I don't care about if she dances online or not. But again, if you're wearing a hijab, I think there are some Muslims in here that I have seen. If you're wearing a hijab, you're supposed to act modestly. Like, you want to dance in your private dance, girl, go off, strip. I don't care, right? But like, I don't know. It's just, and just the way she behaves, the way she, like, it's just not a good look. In general, it's not a good look. And it's just like the thing that upset me the most is just that the beating, and then coming online and saying, that's just my way. It's like, girl, no. Like, people are going to see you, because there's Muslims who are like born Muslims who are white, like my mom. Like, my mom is from the Middle East, but she's white, and she could be like, I know people who look like Amy who are from Lebanon and Syria, right? And they're born Muslims. So people who don't know her might think, oh, so that's how the Muslim, it's just not a good look.
Yeah. Well, and something that I've watched her address on her channel before is about how she dresses. Would you say that she's dressing modestly for the most part?
I mean, again, since I am not the modesty queen,
Yeah.
again, I'm a more liberal, more progressive Muslim. How you're supposed to dress, she does not dress like that.
Okay.
She does not dress like that. She's not supposed to dress like, for example, your shirts are supposed to go, or your dress or whatever you're wearing is supposed to go to your knees. It should be, but also, since she's so big, she probably can't find clothes that are modest at her size. So who am I to tell?
Right.
What is she gonna wear?
Right. Okay. Let's see. What else? Any other questions, guys?
Someone is saying, I swear she only wears it to make her face look smaller. When I tell you, it's not wrong. Like, when I used to wear my hijab, I made sure my double chin disappeared. Girl, like, I mean, it is what it is.
Well, I mean, that's why I love infinity scarves.
I can
back that up, and then you're like, nothing. You can't see anything happening here. Well, and that's what I said when I watched the one video where she wore that pink and black one that like crisscrossed in the front. Like, you could tell she was more comfortable because she wasn't like pulling at it constantly.
Yeah. I mean, and that's the problem also. Like, that's what I'm saying with the ones that just fall off your head. Like, she's wearing a material that will just go up like that all the time. There are materials, like, if you buy like 100% cotton ones, they will not move. They will like just stick where you put it. But someone's saying, if at school or work, how do they pray 5 times? Oh, so if you don't, like, I don't know about America, but I know in Europe is prayer rooms sometimes at your workplace or at school. So you can go there if you want to, but if you don't have the opportunity or the chance to do that, you can just like put all your prayers together, and when you get home, pray all of them.
Yeah.
That makes sense?
Yep. Oh, thanks,
Yeah.
Paige.
So you have
Sorry,
hey,
go ahead.
Pixie. So you have a no, you're fine. You have a morning prayer, you have a noon prayer, afternoon prayer, sunset prayer, and evening prayer, right? So, and if you're at your morning prayer, you can do at home before you leave, and then if you're at work from like noon, afternoon, and sunset, you can just put all these three, them all together. So it's fine.
All right, let's picks. Thank you. Thank you both for sharing this with everyone. It is so much better to learn from Manal than to think that ALJ is a credible source.
The thing is, though, I feel like, I mean, a lot of people say, like, you do have to give her credit. Like, she is not a born. Actually, converts sometimes know more than born Muslims that have not studied it, just because they had to read up on everything to become Muslims, to learn and like find the religion for themselves. But I think for Amy, how long has this woman been married to this person? Like, isn't her like kid that she had with him like 5 or 6? 5?
Yeah, there's 2, and I think the oldest is 4 or 5 now.
So 5 years at least they've been together, and in 5 years, I'm sure you can learn the basics and not tell people that you can't take your medicine. I mean,
well, the thing that was surprising to me is she said in other videos that she, because of her medical issues, can't fast. So then I was like,
see, and that's why I think like she has like the Amber Lynn syndrome sometimes. Says stuff, and then she doesn't think about like consequences, because
right.
she's out here, especially hijabis, like women who wear the hijab are literally on the front lines of this religion, because you can see a man on the street and you don't have to, like, sometimes you see someone and say, oh, okay, that's a Muslim, but most of the time you don't see it, right? Because there is some stuff, like sometimes they wear a specific hat or they have like a long beard, but it's like having a long beard is fashionable right now, so you don't know, right? A woman clearly dressed modestly and wearing a hijab, that's a Muslim, right? So I just just don't say anything before you say stuff that's not true. Like, I'm trying to do that here, right? Like, I'm not to answer the question before I say, oh, that's how it is.
Is there I can't find the question now, but someone was like, do your prayers have to be a specific length? Like, and my question along with that would be like, are there specific prayers you have to say at like a specific time?
Yeah, see, that's what I meant when I say like talking to someone who has no idea, but I'm gonna explain it, and whoever falls asleep during, I'm sorry. Okay, so you start. Okay, so the morning prayer is, there's something called rak'ah, which is the times that you go from standing to going all the way down. But there's like a standing, then you do this, then you go back up, and then you go all the way down, and then you go back up. That's one rak'ah, right? While doing all of this, you're saying prayers and stuff. So the morning prayer is 2 rak'ahs. The noon and afternoon prayers is 4 rak'ahs, like each. The sundown is 3, and the evening prayer is 4. So every time for 1 rak'ah, you're saying Al-Fatiha, which is it takes maybe 30 seconds to say. Sometimes if you're really quick, it takes 10 seconds, you know what I mean? So, and then that's the one main one that you always have to say, right? And then you say like 2 prayers while standing up, and one is Al-Fatiha. The second one, you can choose one page from the Quran or one chapter from the Quran that you want to read from, and there are some that are short, so you can use them all the time in prayers. And then there are some people, like my dad, for example, who likes to have us stand there for 30 minutes, and he will recite a really long one, for example. But you can choose whatever you want. So 1 rak'ah can be, as I said, can be 1 minute, or it can be 20 minutes because you chose to take a chapter that is like super long. You know
Gotcha.
what I mean?
Yeah.
So you did one. You when you go down like this on like touching your knee, you're saying like one sentence. You go down. You say three sentences. You come back up. That's how it is. So you can choose how long it is going to be, and if you know you're at works, for example, and you don't want to bother anyone or anything, you can choose to do a shorter one. Or if you're at home and you feel like super spiritual that day, you can do a longer one. Like that's how you're supposed to feel during Ramadan.
Mm-hmm.
So, and you pray 5 times, and as I said, every prayer has different rakas that you have to do. uh, okay, I don't know, does it make sense what I just said? It makes sense to me because I grew up like that, but does it make sense to you?
Yeah, it makes sense.
Okay. Okay. So
Um,
that's
yeah, and then someone asked, at what age do you start studying the Quran?
um pretty well studying. It's pretty early on. Um, see, the Quran is basically stories of the prophets. We had many, many, many prophets and their stories, and then also a couple of rules. And but it's always like put like, let's call it stories. It's always put into a story or into, I don't want to be disrespectful and call it a poem, but I don't know how to explain it to you without using, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's always put into a chapter and it's always explaining a story. Like every verse has a purpose to tell you, just like the Bible.
Yeah.
It's always the same thing. So uh, what was the question?
When do you start
Oh,
studying?
yes. So most of the time when you're around, say 7 or 8 sometimes, is you don't study it by yourself. You have someone, usually your parent, if you're living in a Muslim country, you have like a scholar, a person from the mosque. Sometimes they come to your home. Sometimes you go to Sunday school to the mosque. And I'm calling it Sunday school because that's what we're calling it here in America, but it's Friday school, because that's our Sunday.
Yeah.
Um, so, and then they will teach you the chapters that you use to pray, and you just learn it by heart at first. That's the only thing that the kids do is learn it by heart, especially, but sometimes the people who live in Arab speaking countries, they will understand what it's saying, but I didn't. At first, I was just repeating what my dad was saying just so I can pray, do the prayers, like the short things that we learn. So, and then later, um, depends again on your parents if they send you to Sunday school or whatever, and then you will learn what it actually means sometimes, because there's also ways to read that because it's in Arabic. The Quran is in Arabic, and you can also, as converts, to pray, you always have to pray it in Arabic, even if you're the most American, like living in the South. You can't, like, you're a convert, you will read it in Arabic. You can't say it in English, and that's why you just learn it by heart at first, right? And so, and then like just as you grow up, then you start understanding what it means. But as it's, the Quran is like, part of it is just stories from of the prophets. While you're younger, like you're 5 years old, your parents will read it to you, not the Quran, but tell you a story about the prophets, like a bedtime story. They don't, because the Quran, as I said, it's very different language. So the the parents will read it to you like a bedtime story. So, the prophet went this, and then he did that, and he made this, and then this other prophet came, because I get, you probably didn't know that either. Muslims don't just believe in Muhammad, just so you
Okay.
know. That's just the last prophet that we have, that we believe in. But we also believe in Jesus. We also believe in Moses and everyone in between.
Okay.
We also believe in Adam and Eve and all that kind of stuff.
Okay.
Yep. As I said, it's a trilogy. We
Yeah.
believe in the Torah and the Bible, and yeah.
Interesting. See, I didn't know any of that. I didn't know any of that.
Yeah, it's a lot to unpack, but I feel like if you know, just like I said, it's like a book. You're reading part 1, part 2, part 3. At 3, it's like the exact it's a lot of the same stories. But the only thing is why Muslims don't believe in the current Bible, it's because, and I think Christians believe that too, that the Bible has been rewritten many, many a times.
Mm-hmm.
So we believe in the original Bible, the very first one, basically. And it has been translated and like kind of changed a little bit. So we don't believe in the Bible that people read now at the hotel, the Bibles that there are at the hotel. Yeah.
So here's the
That's
question.
that.
You believe in Jesus, but do you believe that Jesus was the Son of God or just like he was a prophet?
No. No, that's where we have different beliefs, because they, like, Christians believe he was the Son of God, and we believe that he wasn't. But still, it was almost the same story, but just different endings and a couple of different twists.
Yeah.
But it's just like we believe in Mary as well. We believe that he had no. Do you believe that he had no father? Wait.
Well, Immaculate Conception, God was his father.
Yeah, we believe that too. Like, it's the same. Yeah.
I have a funny story. Thank you for the super chat, Melissa. So I went to Catholic school. I was raised Catholic, which means from kindergarten, I went to Catholic school, and like, so we were studying the Bible, and each day we had a class specifically on religion, like on Catholicism, blah, blah, blah. And in second grade, because I am the way that I am, always questioning, always sarcastic, always like, I don't understand.
Yes. I'm sure you had a lot of fun.
The priest came into our religion class and was like, does anybody have any questions for me? And I was like, this bitch right here has some questions. Yes. And I was like, I don't understand the Immaculate Conception. I was like, how did she just magically become pregnant? Like, I was like, I don't get it. Because like in my second grade mind, I didn't understand that like God could just do that. Like that hadn't hit me yet. And so I was like, how did that happen? So literally
oh God.
reenacted with like classmates of mine how like the angel coming down and like having the conversation. And at the end, he turns to me and he goes, does that make sense? And I was like, no.
Oh God.
Oh man. It was like, so anyway, yeah, so it's cool. I didn't know that you guys had like the same Bible and like Jesus was a part of all of that. Thank you for that, Candy.
But he just has a different name. Like, I mean, all of them have different names because they were translated into English, right? And but he in Islam, I think in Judaism as well, because Jews believe that when the world ends, basically, that the Messiah is going to come, right? So we call him Messiah too, but it's just a different pronunciation. We call him a Masih, which means the Christ. Yeah. But we also call him Isa. That's, for example, I had a friend in school, his name was Isa, and everyone was like, we can't pronounce it. He's like, just call me Jesus. Because that's literally the translation of it.
So you guys have something like communion, like we have, where you eat like the bread and the wine or anything like that?
No. That's one thing about, I have experimented with other religions as well. It's a different story. It doesn't matter. So as Muslims, we don't, like, for example, in the church, you have the priest basically that you go confess to and stuff like that. Yeah. We don't have that authority in the mosque. Like, everyone is their own priest, basically. Like, you don't go confess to anyone. Like, we have a connection to God directly. We don't need anyone to go talk to.
Yeah.
You know? So the guy at the mosque who does like all the what's it called? All the speeches and seminars and all that kind of stuff. He's just, because he has studied it and he has read the Quran and all the other books or all the other stories that there are. He has done that, and a lot of Muslims just don't, because they're regular people. They go to their job, eat their dinner, go to sleep. And so exactly, the imam, I just didn't want to throw more words in here. So you don't have to go to him and tell him anything. Like, if you want to clear your heart, you just go and tell God. You don't have to go tell anyone, because me and the imam have the same level. Like, we're all equal in front of God. Like, no one is better, no one is holy, no one is anything. We're all the same. Just because someone knows something else, his duty is to tell me, but he is not higher to God than I am, basically, you know?
Gotcha.
Hey, Danny.
Yeah, hey, Danny.
Danny's here.
Yeah, okay. So I think that's all the questions I have for now. I'm sure I'll be texting you later and being like, Manal, explain this to me. But thank you for coming on here and talking about this, because I know that this can be like a touchy subject sometimes, but
No problem.
for educating all of us and answering my dumb questions.
No, don't say that, but you're welcome. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, everybody who isn't subscribed to Manal should go subscribe. I will link her when it goes up. I'll link her down below, or Pix or any of my mods if you want to link her real fast. Anyway, yes, thank you for doing this. We've been trying. We've talked about going live together multiple times, and I'm finally glad it's happened.
Yes.
Yeah. So, yeah. Anything else you want to add?
Thank you for having me, and I'm sorry I have not uploaded on my channel for some time, actually, like maybe 2 weeks. Liebe Grüße aus Berlin. Someone's from Berlin. Look at that. Made my night. Oh yes, I know you. Sorry. But yeah, so again, I just want to say I'm not a scholar. I'm just saying from like what I've studied, what my parents have told me. Also, like I've met with a lot of Muslim priests. I'm just going to say it like that because not everyone knows what an imam is. Because like I also had a lot of questions because I grew up in a Western country, a non-Muslim country. There's a lot of stuff that didn't make sense to me or I didn't agree with. There's still some stuff that I don't agree with, but as I said, I just choose to take the great stuff and other stuff. It's none of my business. So, okay. Thank you so much, Rosie.
Yes, thank you guys. Thanks everyone for coming. Thanks everyone for the super chats. Yes. I will be reacting. I didn't look to see if Amy uploaded a weigh-in today, but I will be reacting to it if it's there. So
good luck. I'm sorry. Bye.
Love you guys. Bye.